welcome to the Dwarven Tavern. I am Lyric.
And I'm Josh.
And we are going to be doing a review. This time we are doing a game called Shit Happens. As you can tell by the name, it is an adult game.
Very much so.
It is for ages 18 and up. And I think it's 2 players and up, so like the 2 of us could play it. But we originally played it with 3 just to get a good feel of how it went.
Yeah, this is made by Goliath Games.
So, the basic rundown of this game is that there are, it's a deck of cards that have miserable things on it. For example, flight delayed, and then canceled. Yep. And what you have to do with these cards is they have a misery index. Each one of these cards is ranked. And I believe it says that they were ranked by just a bunch of people. Including marriage counselors, therapists, career counselors, and social workers, collectively representing over 150 years of clinical psychiatric experience.
So they did, so just from that alone, they did actually do their research.
Yeah.
That it feels like. So essentially what happens is, to start the game, each player, or we'll take it like this. I'm the dealer. I deal 3 cards to each player, including myself.
And me.
Yes. And then the players place their cards face up, and they place them in order of the misery index on the bottom. So in my case, head lice is a 10, ingrown toenail is a 10.5, and hemorrhoids is a 40.
For me, I have jury duty at 11, disastrous haircut at 11.5, and lost wallet is 40.5.
And since Lyric just drew that card, the player to the right of the dealer draws the card.
So that would be me.
Yes.
And then I would say, how much do you think the flight delayed, and then canceled is worth in your misery index?
And then I have to guess if it's between 10 and 10.5 or 10.5 and 40. And then as we go along, that grows, and then the number becomes
more specific.
Shorter.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would say it's between 10.5 and 40.
And it is 13, so he's correct, and he gets that card. And that adds to basically his point value. The person who is the most accurate ends up the winner.
Correct.
And I'm usually the most accurate with this for some reason. So that's basically the game. And
it's very simple, which is one of the positives about it, is the simplicity of it.
Yeah, with a lot of people, it could be really chaotic. We've only played it with a small group, so it goes relatively quickly, but the more people, the more complicated, the longer it takes.
Right, and then I believe there's 200 cards. We only have a very small amount out here just for display purposes.
Yeah.
But there's about 200 cards in total.
So reoccurring cards don't actually happen that frequently.
No.
At least with small groups. With larger groups, I could see them becoming kind of repetitious, but other than that, it would be, still quick, still fast to learn, to play, to get it going. The problem that we had, the biggest problem, is that even though they had such a diverse panel of deciding these cards and making like the misery index, it felt kind of arbitrary in that I don't necessarily agree with his rating.
Right. I don't necessarily agree with most of these on here. The scaling, I think, is weird. Like, to me, hemorrhoids is not a 40, but, a lost wallet, 4.5, is much, much higher than a 40 to me. My lost wallet is, that's my IDs, my credit cards, all my money, and so that's a lot higher than that to me. Mm-hmm. I actually took out a couple cards here that I felt the scaling was off, and I think that's one of our issues we have, is that it's so subjective. It's subjective to the point where the numbers almost shouldn't mean anything. They should almost mean what you think it is to this player.
Right.
Instead of having to have this arbitrary number. So, like, favorite local team relocates, that's a big deal to me. I'm a big Cincinnati Reds fan. I don't want my Reds to leave.
Yeah,
I'm a
being
big
in Cincinnati.
But this doesn't matter to her.
Yeah, because I'm not that big of a sports person. And
Right.
I do care about the Reds. I just wouldn't care that much if they moved.
And on the opposite side, we have lose your laptop.
Which, as a graphic designer, that would be 100.
and all my schoolwork is on my laptop, which would make it, in my opinion,
Way worse.
way worse than losing my wallet or having hemorrhoids. Or
Let's check out. Okay. Actually, that one's still pretty bad too. I was gonna say let's try and find one that
is bad.
Is worse than that. Wet the bed every night. Okay, every night for how long? That wasn't very specific, but let's say you wet the bed every night for a month. That is still not worse than losing your laptop.
Yeah.
And that's rated as a 68.5. I would rather wet the bed every night than lose my laptop.
Right. And I guess when they made this game, they kind of made it as a generalization, which I understand that. Mm-hmm. But as a card game, it needs to be more specific to the individuals.
Which how they would accomplish that is kind of like, how would they do that? I don't know.
I think it would be more like what I said. You can have the number index, but it should be what you believe that number index is to the other person. Like I should do, let's do this one for example. Wasp in your mouth. What do you think that is?
That would be really bad.
To you.
Well, I am allergic, so that would be really, really bad.
Yeah, so the card says this is 45 and a half.
I would have put it worse than Lost Wallet.
So I think it should somehow be where you have to...
Somehow wasp, you mean?
Yeah. Somehow, I would say switch the cards around, the order, and you're trying to order your cards based on them, not ordering your cards based on your level. You should. I would say the rules should be I'm ordering my cards based on what you think is
that
worse.
Would make for a very interesting game.
Yeah.
This one is more what do you think the general population feels, because that's what this was tested for. And even though we are part of the general population, we as individuals have individualistic opinions, and therefore they don't necessarily coincide.
Yeah, it's a fun game, but ultimately what you see is what you get, and it's not... There's other card games that I think are better that can accomplish this. Yeah. I'm not saying that this is terrible.
And this would certainly be fun for an all-adult party where you're just having a good time, having drinks and whatnot. You just break this game out for drunken shenanigans.
Right.
And that'd be great. So, it does what it does. As in, it's like not spectacular, but it gets the point across. Yeah. And it's fast to learn, but the scaling is, it's up in the air, and for that, it loses points, in my opinion. It's not, the replayability is very low for me. I don't think I would play this again unless I was going to a party where they're not gamers.
Yeah. And if we were doing that, I would take red flags.
Yeah. So I would give this game a 3, maybe a 2.5.
Yeah, I say that's fair. I'd say 2.5 axes is pretty well. And objectively, we're not the target audience for this.
Yeah.
But I think you could do more with it if the rules were just flipped a little bit. Instead of having your index, you have to do the others. Yeah,
I can't even think of any house rules that we could incorporate to make this a more interesting game. This is just simply a drinking party game.
But pick it up for yourself if you see it. We're not exactly sure how much it goes for. It's not on the box, but if it's a good deal and you like these kind of card games, give it a shot and make your own opinion about it. Mm-hmm.
If you're interested in those types of games, or you have a party that you have to go to where they're not gamers, this could probably be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it could be. So this game is by Goliath Games. You can visit them at goliathgames.us.
Cool. So, with that said, I am Lyric.
And I'm Josh.
And on behalf of the entire cast and crew of the Dwarven Tavern, we wish for you to want for nothing but adventure. And at first I feared it.
Then I charged.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.